Yeah, kuna mtu kuna.
Now, when you talk of mass murders, then you should prove they are mass.
Hii ndio
tuliziacha.
Lazima afukue hivyo hivyo. Hizi vitu vina vipi? Shaenda. Njoo tuna gari leo.
Wacheni kupiga picha mbele. Hey.
We have also some this morning when they say they remain behind. We say instead of going there.
Ensuring you have an ambulance stand by. From coast, new water coast.
You're good. Let me start by thanking everyone for doing what you're doing. I will not tire to say that we appreciate what every role player is doing. Even as we come to terms with one of the worst attacks our country has ever witnessed. I think, unfortunately, it is turning out that what we have here in Shakahola is one of the worst tragedies our country has ever known. I have returned here today to join my colleagues who have been here all along. The team here led by the regional commissioner, the security members of the security and intelligence team from this region, this county and the sub-county, our officers from other agencies who have been here. As I told you last week, we have many teams here. The team that was overseeing the post-mortems for the first phase at the Malindi Sub-County Hospital was led by Dr. Johannes Oduor, who is our chief government pathologist. And then we have the operation, the search and rescue operation, which is still ongoing. And I am glad to report that every day we are receiving good news of rescues. And we're just praying that we are able to save a few more lives, or as many lives as could be trapped in this forest. Now, I'm here today purposely to oversee the resumption of the exhumation, which was ordered by court. And I would like to say that by the time we suspended this exercise because of weather, we had about 109 bodies. By evening it was 110, and then a few others, including one who died in hospital. And therefore the total number of bodies that were subjected to the post-mortem at the Malindi Sub-County Hospital were 112, all of them emanating from this horrible massacre. And therefore today I'm here to oversee the resumption of that exercise. I am afraid that we have many more graves in this forest. And therefore, it leads us to conclude that this was a highly organized crime. And I want to assure the country that the government of Kenya will do whatever it takes to unravel this organized criminal activity that has costed us all these people and counting. Therefore, I have been able to meet the teams. The team working on the exhumations is led by the director of the homicide unit, Martin Nyuguto, is on site. But generally the investigations around these incidents are being supervised by Abdallah Komesha, who is an assistant inspector general of police. As I've said, we have the rescue and search operation, which is spearheaded by Senior Assistant Inspector General of Police, Peter Ndongo. The other colleagues are here, including the Regional Police Commander, Mr. Kimani. During the past few days, we have been able to record hundreds of statements from people of interest and people we suspect have information that can help us unravel the truth. In the process, the rescue and search mission has also rescued a few more people, and I would like to confirm that until this hour, we have rescued a total of 65 persons, including 2 that were rescued this morning, and the search and rescue mission is ongoing as we speak. So that number hopefully will rise. But up to now, I am informed that we have rescued a total of 65 persons, and many of them have been taken to hospital for stabilization. The children have been taken to rescue centers, and we are hoping that we will register more success in our search and rescue operation. The last time I was here, I did announce that we will combine land and air operation. And in the air operation component, I did announce that we will combine aircraft and the use of drones. However, having assessed the nature of the thicket here, we decided to minimize the use of aircraft, but we have concentrated on the use of drones, which are really helping us to track movements and disturbance of thickets during the day and at night. But we realized because of the cover, the thicket cover, the use of aircrafts would be limited. However, we will still use the aircraft perhaps in the coming days, because we believe there is also the value added by application of aerial search. But the drones have been in use so far, and they have really helped us big time in conjunction or in support also of the work done by the ground team, which ground team is also using sniffer dogs and other ways to carry out the operation. To our patriotic officers who are holed in this forest day and night, and the support team which is here, for what they have done so far to save the number of lives which I have indicated. Until now, we have arrested 25 people during this operation, and they are being processed and they will be charged with various offenses. And I can also report, without prejudicing the ongoing investigations, that we are zeroing down on the Tier 2 and Tier 3 perpetrators who aided Mr. Mackenzie to cause this injury that he has caused us in this forest. We have made tremendous progress, and we will be arresting and charging more second tier and third tier suspects in the coming days, and some of them are not within this locality, but we have an idea where they are, and very soon we will be making further pronouncements on other key arrests who are associated with this organized crime. Having said that, I am happy to report that the exhumation process has resumed today. I reaffirm what I said last week and all the other times I've been around. On behalf of the government of Kenya, I want to assure the people of Kenya that the government will inform the public the whole truth of what has happened to our people here. And therefore, there should be no cause of anxiety or alarm. We continue asking people who have missing persons who they think could have been trapped in this criminal enterprise to make use of the public information tracing and support center and use the number which you have provided, or otherwise get in touch with the team here led by the regional commissioner for the Coast Province, Rhoda Onyancha, who is on my left. The measures that we imposed when this tragedy was first discovered are still in place. There is a dusk to dawn curfew from 6 p.m. or 1800 hours to 6 a.m. 0600 hours. Any person who is found within this 800-acre piece of land, which is actively under investigation, and the entire Chakama Ranch measuring 50,000 acres, any person found making any movements, assembly, or meeting between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. will be treated as a suspect of crime. At the same time, the same area, the entire Chakama Ranch, is also an active security operation area. It is also a scene of crime. For that reason, we have limited movement of unauthorized persons or persons who have no role to play in the security operation, including the search and rescue. And the reasons, as I said before, are as follows. First, with the ongoing security operation, we do not want any member of the public to get harmed as a result of any engagement between our officers and any criminals who may be holed up in this forest. Therefore, security procedures demand that when you have an active security operation, including a search and rescue operation, you must keep the public away to make sure that nobody is harmed. The only people who are allowed to access this forest and the ranch are people who have been authorized to do so by the operation commander, Senior Assistant Inspector General of Police Peter Ndungu, or the team leader of this team here, the overall team leader, Rhoda Onyancha. The measures are still in place. It is likely we will have to extend them at the expiry, because from what we have established, this exercise is likely to take a little longer, for the reason that we have to exhaust the search and rescue, and also we have to exhaust the exhumation and look for any possible place where a human being could be buried in this ranch. And therefore we want to do it methodically, scientifically, lawfully, and carefully to make sure that we don't leave any of our people in this forest alive or dead. So it's going to take a bit of time, and I want to request the forbearance and indulgence of the public so that we do things to finality and conclusion. The reason also why we are limiting access is because the process of exhumation of dead bodies is a legal, medical, and human rights process. It is not just any other activity. The bodies that we are exhuming are bodies of our fellow countrymen, but they are also bodies of people's relatives, people's spouses, people's children, people's brothers and sisters. And therefore we must protect the dignity and the privacy of families, but it's also a legal process. And as I said, we have to do it in a manner that nobody sues the agencies here for violation of their fundamental rights. And that's why we are limiting the number of people who access, especially the exhumation sites, because the search and rescue, the limitation is for the safety of those people, so that there is no harm on people. But for the exhumation, it is for legal, medical, and security ethics reasons. And once again, I want to thank all the people all the role players who have assisted us go through this process. I know, especially members of the press, you would like a little more access. We have made arrangements. From the time I was here, I am informed that every day our representatives of the media is able to spend the day with the teams there and come back during the briefings as one of your own who can attest to what is provided for the public. So once again, we've nothing to hide, but all of us cannot go there, because if we all go there, we can't control what we are doing, and if we can't control, we might end up with images that give rise to legal consequences, not only for the media houses, but for the government of Kenya. But we have nothing to hide, completely nothing to hide. We have decided, effective today, to increase the number of media people getting daily access to 2, so that you can have alternative media houses, and they don't have to be the same media houses. You will agree among yourselves and update the team leader here, RC Rhoda, so that every time there are at least 2 representatives of the media spending the whole day with the teams there under the direct supervision of Martin Nyuguto, the Director of Homicide Unit. The government has also decided, again, as you are aware, the Kenya Red Cross has been permanently present in that exhumation process because of their unique role, both under statute and international conventions, which we recognize. And that should represent part of the humanitarian community, humanitarian organizations, again, just to show that we have nothing to hide. With regard to human rights organizations, the government has also decided to allow every day a representative of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights and another one representative of human rights non-governmental organizations. So you'll have 2 representatives for human rights groups, one from the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, which is a statutory body, but also for purposes of balance, another representative from any of the civil societies who have done a wonderful job to profile and to bring to perspective what has happened here. Again, the representative of the civil society doesn't need to be the same person. So again, they'll agree and brief us and inform us who will go today, tomorrow, the other day. Why are we taking these measures? It is to show we have nothing to hide, we have nothing that we are doing under the table, but we have certain limitations which I've said are required by law and others by medical and security ethics. I think those are the new adjustments that we are making on access to the exhumation process. If there will be any images taken, there will be images that will be possibly aired without legal implications, and the director of the homicide unit and the teams there will guide, because they are professionals. They are not politicians, and we have not told them to do any politics. In fact, we have asked them to stay away, far away from politics of any shade. Having said that, I want to reiterate the orders I gave on this site last week, that no person of whatever rank in society will be allowed to access this area because of the reasons I have given. That every other person, irrespective of their status in society, must respect the security procedures here, and that is not a political message. It's a professional message, and therefore politicians from the government side, from the opposition side, should keep off from this tragedy or trying to politicize this tragedy. We are not interested in the politics. If they want to do politics with the tragedy, there are so many other places they can go and politic. We have stadia across the country and other public places where they can go and hold rallies and speak their politics. But we are not going to allow politicians to come and discharge their political matters here. On the issue of missing body parts theory, I think investigations are still going on and the post-mortem processes and reports are being prepared. And I think I am advised by the experts that we should not preempt the investigations. It's a theory, as I said the other time, it's a theory we're investigating. The reports that came from the morgue are still being finalized, and I don't want to preempt the matter beyond there. On the question of change of tactics, the answer is yes. Every time, every week, every other so often, we are looking of better ways of quickening the search and rescue. So we've made some improvements which will be implemented this week. And as I've said, even the air support or the use of aircraft has not been ruled out, and you'll see some action perhaps towards the end of the week on that front, among other tactics that we don't want again to say publicly, because the criminals also watch television. They also listen to radio. So if we tell them what we want to do, they might take cover in case there are criminals holed up there. But we believe there are criminals still in this forest. With regard to how many more graves, as I have said, this is a very vast property. We are moving methodically, and that even the process of identification of graves is ongoing, but we have work to do. The damage is quite significant. At the moment, we have 20 mass graves that are being opened, and we suspect the graves could be having several victims. But again, once more, we just want the public to know that the process is far from over, and we want to do it so carefully that we don't leave any of our people in this forest alive or dead. The last one was, what did you say, my sister? The DNA? Yeah, that process is ongoing. I don't have the latest figure, but that process is ongoing. I think it was 88 by yesterday. 88 or thereabout, but I can confirm for the maybe what you can do, RC. Yes. When you do the briefing today, you can answer that question because I don't have the latest figure. But when I checked the last time, it was 88, and that process is ongoing. Tracing of missing persons, reuniting families. The Red Cross and other groups are really supporting us in that. The county government of Kilifi continues to provide us with the very, very critical amenities, and we thank the county government of Kilifi and the local leaders here and the community at large. We have reviewed, by way of decision, that from today, the daily briefing will be done at 5 p.m. sharp. I know you have challenges with press time, but we also have challenges because we do it earlier, then something else happens between 3 and 4 or thereabout, and then you start having the stories like we were hearing last week. There's a discrepancy. I mean, why would the government hide one body? You announce 109, then you hide one. How does it help you? Isn't it? If you announce 109, unless you are telling the world there is nobody who is dead, then you can, it makes sense. But if you are saying we have lost 109 Kenyans, why would it matter to hide one body? So to avoid those kind of things, the briefings will be done promptly at 17:00 hours, 5 p.m. daily, and by that time the activity of that day will have closed in terms of exhumations. Of course, we can't close the search and rescue. You can't say it's 5 o'clock, we can't rescue. We rescue throughout. But exhumations, by the time the regional commissioner comes here to give the update at 5 p.m., we will have closed the activity and there will be no discrepancies. Now, Takia Kila Laheri, you guys are good people. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Next week, the National Assembly Security Committee to access the grave area. Why? Because the National Security Committee is a committee of Parliament of Kenya. It's not a political institution. It's an institution that represents Parliament. And in fact, the members of the National Assembly Security Committee that came here were members from both the government side and members of the political opposition. So an institution like that, which does oversight, will be given guided access. We'll have access to talk to even to our officers here, because again, we have nothing to hide. That should be a clear message that the business we have here is not the business that some of the players want to think we are doing. The situation is bad enough, and I don't think there's anything more painful than what has happened. The accountability process, as I have said, has commenced. It has begun. We started by asking all our colleagues who were in this county and the police stations and police divisions around this area, first and foremost, before we even do anything, to go to other stations and allow a new team, so that we don't, when the investigations start and as they progress, we don't have anybody perhaps who may think, oh, maybe I should have done this, I didn't do it, and therefore try to interfere with investigations. But I said that is not enough. The accountability will still come through a legal process, because again, we don't want a public lynching of public officials. In that regard, last week, President William RUTO appointed 2 institutions to help us with the accountability journey. The first is a commission of inquiry under the Commissions of Inquiries Act Cap 102 of the laws of Kenya, which inquiry is supposed to look at what happened at Shakahola, and it will help in framing the legal issues. What happened, and number 2, what lapses may have caused this, including lapses within the security sector. And that's why I'm saying the accountability will not be just for the perpetrators, it will also visit the public officials who either should have done something, they didn't do it, or they did something which enabled Mackenzie and company to cause the country such harm. So again, we appeal for patience and forbearance. At the same time, President William RUTO last week appointed a task force. Now, the purpose of the task force, unlike the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, is to look generally at the issue of regulation of religious activities, so that we don't have a repeat of what has happened here. That task force has representatives from government, representatives from religious organizations and civil society, and many, many actors who are represented there. And we are even willing to expand it a little longer, or rather a little more, to make sure that there is representation of all shades of opinion, so that as a country we can ask ourselves, why should we have this kind of religious entities? They prey on people, they cause murder, yet they are using scriptures, yes, yet they are using religion. So we must sit down, and the members of the religious fraternity from all faiths must be part of that discussion. And they should help us. They should help government and tell us, how do we regulate religious activities without, first of all, hurting the very sacred right in the Constitution to freedom of worship, but at the same time without exposing the public to manipulation by rogue religious people or criminals purporting to be religious people. So we have no war with religion, we have no war with the church, we respect the Constitution, but anybody who think they can hide behind church or mosque or synagogue or temple to commit crime, their days are numbered. And I say so with so much certainty that any person who thinks going forward they can use the Constitution and the right to the freedom of worship, and they can use the Holy Scriptures of any religion to kill the people of Kenya, to torture them, to strangle them, to smother them to death, to starve them to death, in the name of God, those people must look for another country to exercise their so-called right of freedom of worship. And therefore, even beyond the task force, we will not wait for the task force to tell us. We will continue doing what we do, that is enforcing the law, because what has happened has happened. The problem is if something like this happens again. So all those crooks, criminals, charlatans, masqueraders, or whatever purported faith, who are purveyors of crime, your days are numbered. We'll get you. We have categorized you with the rest of the dangerous criminals like bandits and terrorists. I want to end there by thanking again every public official present here and those who are not here involved in this exercise. I thank the civil society, non-governmental organizations, human rights groups, the Kenya Red Cross, the media of our country, international media, everybody who has spent time to focus on this tragedy, to tell the world what happened. And I know from your expose, from your own perspectives, we are picking lessons to make sure that we don't have a matter like this on the soil of the Republic of Kenya. Nawatakia kila laheri. Sisi tunaomba ruhusa tuache roda hapa na wenzetu wale wengine tukimbie mahali ingine, kwa sababu Kenya yetu hii naye ni kubwa, matatizo ni mengi, lakini kwa majaliwa ya Mwenyezi Mungu tutaweza kudhibiti usalama wa nchi yetu, tuwe kama nchi zingine ambazo mambo ya uhalifu yamepungua na wananchi wanafanya mambo yao bila hofu. That is our mission, and we want to promise we will deliver on that mission. Thank you very much. Last one, tumaliza na hiyo. Yes.
My name is Calvin. I'm just a Ghanaian manager 3 kilometers from here. And I would like to say I reached with one person just some 1 hour ago.
Well done.
So this is the third time.
Thank you.
And I said that they must say hi to CS.
Yeah.
And because that thing really entered my heart. And there's a farm here 3 kilometers away from me. And from now, I wanted to confirm that the government is doing a really fantastic job. And the only thing that I request from the government is facilitation.
Okay.
And I'm a professional, but I'm an agronomist.
Okay.
And I will request the government to
Okay.
consider me, because now I don't have any job.
Okay.
And I wanted to say hi to you.
Thank you.
I'm only
You're called who?
Kevin Omondi.
Kevin Omondi.
Yes. My name Kevin Omondi.
Okay. What we do, tutasimamana hapa
Yes.
Kwanza kabisa asante. We appreciate even the local community, volunteers, people that are doing a good job to support the government and everybody.
I will do more.
So, endelea, thank you for rescuing. You never know the person you rescue today is a child or a...
Is a man. In fact, I just carried him with my motorbike. My motorbike is just down there.
You never know.
He's a man.
He's already, he's a grown-up man.
Yeah,
Maybe you have rescued somebody's father, and maybe the children of that man
Yes.
have an opportunity of having a father who will nurture one of those children, even to be the president of this country. You never know.
Yes, yes.
So pongezi, tutasimamana hapa. Hata hii mambo ingine ya kazi nitakuzote tuongee hapa kando kidogo. Asante sana. God bless you. Continue.